Welcome in for another edition of Saratoga Saturdays. I'm Anita Marks, back at home. Last week I was poolside. I have to admit that was quite nice. The star of our show, Jonathan Kinchen, as well, is here with us. And of course, we want to thank ABR for this platform and getting you ready for Saratoga Saturday. Jonathan, how you doing?
I'm well. I'll be honest. This 9 a.m. Was much easier than 8 a.m. last week. So everything is good. It's a heavy stakes weekend at Saratoga, which one of the reasons we love it here so much. The weather looks outstanding. I cannot see a cloud outside, which is good. So happy to be here, happy to be in Saratoga, and looking forward to some fun racing today.
I can only imagine how many people are there because I played golf yesterday at a golf course called Spook Rock here in Suffern, New York. And I felt like I had the entire course to myself. Why? Because a lot of dudes that I play golf with, that I tee up with on Fridays, made the trip to Saratoga because there's 3 big races this weekend. This is a big weekend up there. And so I could only imagine how much fun Saratoga is this weekend. So because like I said, I mean, I had the entire golf course to myself yesterday. Want to remind you, ABR is opening up the first round of voting for the Fan Choice Award. So people can go to americasbestracing.net and start voting at noon today. We'll also randomly select 4 voters, and you have a chance of a $1,000 gift card. So really cool. So get on that. And again, it opens up at noon today. All right, Jonathan, there's 3 races that we are eyeing, and everybody knows, I'm sure, which ones those are. And we'll start with the 8th race. Post time is a little after 5 o'clock. The Vanderbilt 6 furlongs. These are the top sprinters. And there's one horse that's in this race that I know you like, who's very near and dear to me, and that is Firenze Fire from Mr. Amore Stables. Why? Ron Lombardi is a dear friend of mine. He owns several restaurants here in my neighborhood. He is a mensch. He is one of the nicest men I've ever met in my life. And you couldn't want to root for a dude and a horse more than Ron Lombardi and Firenze Fire. But So I'm rooting for him with my heart. You're the expert. What do you like about Firenze Fire in this race later on this evening?
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough race. We'll talk about Mischievous Alex, the 2-horse, and Whitmore as well, a fan favorite. But Firenze Fire is the type of horse where I think there's this kind of ridiculous narrative that he can only win at Belmont Park. He's got an unbelievable record at Belmont Park, but I just think it's circumstantial. I think it just happened to be that he won there. He's done well there. He's won big races there. And when he's run at other places like here or at other grade 1 races, he's run into really good horses and got unlucky or had bad trips. And so I think his value is going to be there a little bit because people are going to bet Mischievous Alex because of how good he looks on paper. People are going to bet Whitmore because he's a huge fan favorite. People love him, and they should. And I just feel like Firenze Fire is going to offer some value. I think he's going to be a little bit underappreciated in this race. He's a talented racehorse. If the pace should be honest enough, that's what he needs. He needs an honest pace. He can win a race without a pace, but I think he needs an honest one, especially to win at this level. And I think he'll be tough. Look, if you're playing multi-race bets, I'm not encouraging you to toss a horse like Whitmore, and especially not Mischievous Alex. But I do think Firenze Fire is going to be the value play in the Vanderbilt today.
All right, so let's talk. You said Whitmore, a fan favorite. Everything that I've read about this horse, this is its favorite distance. So obviously that bodes well. Mischievous Alex won 2 times in this distance, but I guess my biggest question for you is the post as the number 2 spot. Is that a concern?
No, he's a tactical horse. He'll get out of there running. He'll get his position moving forward, and I'm not concerned about that. It's not the biggest field in the world. It's a sprint race. Usually when you don't want to be wide going 2 turns, and you don't want to get stuck inside and things of that. I'm not worried about it at this distance. Whitmore, why is he such a big favorite and such a big fan? He's been running. He's an 8-year-old, right? So he's been running for 6 years. He was on the Kentucky Derby trail at one point. And then he just turned into this sprinter. They decided that was too far. They've cut him back. And that's a long time to run, to run as an 8-year-old and still be doing it at a high level. He's not over the hill. There's nothing to worry about in that regard. He's just a horse that for me is probably just a tad cut below these grade 1 horses. Now that sounds really ridiculous for a horse that just won the Breeders' Cup Sprint, but he had an absolutely perfect trip. The morning line favorite in that Breeders' Cup scratched. And so I think that it was kind of a perfect storm for him to get that win. Not taking anything away from the horse. He's a cool horse, and I would love to own him. And in all fairness, if I could pick any horse in this race to own, it would be Whitmore. I just do think he's a bet against, though.
How do you bet this race? Maybe an exacta box with 2, 3, 6. What are you doing at the window, Jonathan?
Yeah, I mean, I think in this situation, what I would do is I would do like an exacta wheel where I would have Firenze Fire in first place with Mischievous Alex and Whitmore in second, and then I would flip it with Mischievous Alex and Whitmore winning with Firenze Fire running second. It's kind of a modified place bet where I'm just saying that Firenze Fire is going to run first or second, and these other two horses that are very logical will be in the exacta as well, whether they run first or they run second. You can exacta box it, and as a new player, I would never talk anyone off of exacta boxing. I would just encourage you that once you kind of get the hang of it, transition to a more efficient wager like the one that I mentioned before.
I like it. Let's look at the race at race number 9, the Jim Dandy Stakes, 3-year-old prep race for the next month's Travers. A big weekend, of course. I was actually looking into making my way up there to Saratoga. We'll see. Hopefully that happens. But Essential Quality. I mean, this is the horse. This is the favorite. 6 of 7 in its career. Can anyone beat this horse today?
Yeah, I mean, any horse can get beat, and that's why the game's so much fun. Because even if yesterday I was alive in the pick 6 and I had a 1-2 shot, and I was nervous the entire race, and he won for fun, but I was still nervous because things happen. Essential Quality is a special type of horse because he was a 2-year-old champion. And a lot of times what happens is this 2-year-old is kind of that same effect that you saw at your local middle school, where that 7th grader that was really good at football, he's a starting quarterback. And then when he was in high school, everybody caught up to him. So that happens very often with these 2-year-old champions. It's not happening with Essential Quality. He was the best 3-year-old, in my opinion, going into the Kentucky Derby. He ran 4th that day, but I thought he was best in the race. He traveled 60 feet further than the winner, or the unofficial winner, 60 feet further. I just think he's a talented horse. He comes back. He wins the Belmont Stakes. He beats a really good horse in Hot Rod Charlie, who was the horse that crossed the line first in the Grade 1 Haskell, although he was disqualified for interference. Essential Quality is without a doubt the best horse in this race. And to be fair, he's the best horse running today anywhere in this country. But this isn't the goal. The goal, obviously, is
Travers.
The Travers. And so think of it like week 16 in football, resting their starters, getting ready for the playoffs. Brad Cox is not resting his starter here. The horse is going to show up and try to win. But if you're looking to try to beat this horse, it's not the craziest time to try to do it. I also think he's better probably going 1.25 miles, 1.5 miles. This race is just at 1.125 miles. With all that said, the horse is going to win probably. But I think that if you want to try to get creative, that's what you could lean on. I like the 2 horse to the inside. If you want to try to beat Essential Quality, Mask Parade, he runs fast speed figures. He's trending in the right direction. And that's what's so great about the Jim Dandy and the Travers is, although these 3-year-olds might not have been good enough at that point of the year to run in the Kentucky Derby, they are improving, growing up, maturing, and Mask Parade feels like one of those horses.
What about the 3-horse, Wayburn? Finished second in the Pegasus Stakes.
Yeah, he ran well against Mandaloon, who ran second in the Kentucky Derby. Look, I think Wayburn's a pretty good horse. I think that he's probably got some good races in his future. I don't see him beating Essential Quality today. And I don't see him really beating Mask Parade. But I will say this. One of my colleagues and someone whose opinion I absolutely respect is champion jockey Richie Migliori. He really likes Wayburn in this race. So you can go with the guy that's never sat on a horse or the guy that's won thousands of races. But I do like Essential Quality in here. And if anyone else is going to beat him, I think it'll be Mask Parade.
So are you going to play an exacta box here with the 5 and the 2? Is that how you're playing this race?
I think you can absolutely play an exacta box like that. What I would prefer to do is be a little bit more efficient. I think Essential Quality is going to win this race. So I don't want to spend the same. If you do a box, you're spending the same amount of money on both combinations. I would like to weigh it. Say you're betting with $100. I would bet $75 with Essential Quality with Mask Parade in second. And then I would reverse it for $25 with Mask Parade in first and Essential Quality in second. It just feels better. It's more efficient. And I know, like I said, Essential Quality is a significantly more likely winner of the race. So why would I spend my money equally? Now, If your opinion is different and you want to take on the champion, then you could flip it the other way, and that's completely fine as well. I'm not a huge fan of being inefficient in my wagering, but I understand that there's an entry point to this game, and that's a great way to get started. I started off as an exacta box man, and I just kind of transitioned as I learned more about the game.
This dude, Brian, is watching this on his drive up from Philly. Brian, I love that you're watching this, but be careful on the road.
Dangerous.
And Jonathan, really quick before we break down race number 10, this is our third show together, and I love that you throw in football analogies because I totally get when you do. So I do appreciate that, my friend. All right, race number 10, Bowling Green Stakes, turf race with some of the best East Coast horses that will be racing. You like the 5-horse Channel Maker. Why?
Well, it poured the other night. Like, it was flooding in the streets a night, 2 days ago. So the grass is going to have some give in it. We've had that conversation, I think, a couple of times since we've been doing the show about the weather, and it does affect racing. The ground will have some more give to it. We call it cut in the ground. Think about, when you're out golfing and you're hitting those, if it's wet and the divots are more significant than when it's dry. It's the same effect for these horses. Some of them like it and some of them don't. Some of them like to have a firm ground. Some of them like a ground that has some give. Channel Maker is one of those horses. He likes when there's give in the ground. He's run 9 times in his career on turf courses that are not listed as firm. There's different levels: good, yielding, soft, so on. On courses not listed firm, he's won 4 of those 9 races. So he's a horse that actually, that appreciates it. He likes it here at Saratoga. The other thing is, one of his owners is a friend of mine, Randy Hill. And at some point during his career, they said, we have to do something different. Let's just put him on the lead. And when he's on the lead, he's dangerous. He gets brave up there. He likes free running. And that's where he'll be today. Manny Franco will put him on the lead. I'd imagine there's a world in which Channel Cat will go, but I think Channel Maker, liking the soft ground, with Manny being extremely aggressive to get to the front end because that's his best way of going, I think he could be tough in this spot. And there's no real gorillas in here. And sometimes you can get them up here in these turf races with Mike Maker and Todd Pletcher and Chad Brown, but there's not that horse that really stands out. I think Channel Maker is that horse.
Again, reading up about Channel Maker, back from Dubai from a 3-month layoff. No concern there?
Yeah, I mean, I hate that Dubai layoff thing. Like, look, it's like a 15-hour flight. Like, I just don't think it's that big of a deal. I think that they're big races, so maybe horses are like over-prepped to go there, so when they come back, they don't run as well. I don't really get it. I'm not a huge oh my God, he ran to Dubai, he can't win now because he's got the Dubai break layoff thing. No, I think he'll be fine. He's had plenty of time to recover from that with 3 weeks, and he's being trained by a Hall of Famer and Bill Mott, who I trust emphatically.
I'm just going to throw out the 7-horse Moon Over Miami, maybe because I'm from Miami. 305 is my fun zone. So any love for Moon Over Miami?
Sure. Look, turf racing is tough. Dirt racing to me is a little bit more straightforward. Usually the best horse on the day wins. That's not the case in turf racing. It's very trip oriented. If Channel Maker and Channel Cat hook up, chaos can happen. If one of them gets loose, it's a very tricky part of the game. Moon Over Miami is a horse that, we know he can handle the distance. Once again, trained by a Hall of Famer and Bill Mott. Junior Alvarado rides. I do think that this horse has a chance, but I do feel like he's not the most likely of winners. But if you are from Miami or your area code is 305, I would encourage you to place a wager.
All right. So the 3 big races, stake races, obviously we broke them down. If somebody's looking to play a pick 4, so we know who you like in 8, 9, and 10, is there a horse in 11 that you'd like to recommend or suggest for like a pick 4 play?
Yeah, I mean, I think the last race is a little bit of a spread race. Also, keep an eye on if they're – I'm pretty sure we'll be on the turf on all the races today, but there's some races they might take off. They'll definitely leave the stake on. But the 2 Clear Vision is a horse that I would definitely include. We talked about the soft ground. This horse has run on not firm 5 times, 1-2, 10-1 morning line. I'm not saying cut in line to bet this horse to win or mortgage the house. I'm simply saying if you're playing the pick 4 to include this horse with some other logical ones. It's a tough race to wrap it up, but but the 2 Clear Vision is definitely one I would use, and the 9 Counter Offer. This is a horse that won here at Saratoga on soft ground last year at 20-1. He's another one that likes the ground here when it's got a little bit of cut in it, and he'll be a big price, 15-1 morning line. So if you're playing those pick 4s, make sure you use those 2 long shots.
Love it. One last thing for you. Not today, but tomorrow you have your eye on a race and a horse. Who is it?
Yeah, one of my favorite horses in training is running in the Amsterdam tomorrow, a horse by the name of Jackie's Warrior. Super fast horse. He was such a good 2-year-old. He came back and ran in the Pat Day Mile on the Kentucky Derby undercard. He got hooked in a fast pace and had every reason to quit, and he didn't. And he finished and he won that race. Then he comes back in the Woody Stevens on Belmont Stakes undercard, breaks slow, rushes up using a ton of energy, rushing up, and still almost wins, gets beat by a head by a horse by the name of Drain the Clock, who'll be in this race on Sunday. It'll be a great rematch, and I love Jackie's Warrior in that rematch.
Great stuff as always. And I'm assuming we will see you later on this afternoon on Fox, yes?
Yeah, I think I'm on from like 3:30 to 7. I don't know. I think the late pick 5, late pick 6. I just show up and figure it out when I get there. But yeah, I think we're on FS2 all day today. I always encourage people, sometimes if you don't know where to find us, the YouTube channel on Naira we always have the show on and it just runs. You don't have to worry about the channel switching.
All right. Great stuff as always. And also want to let you know, if you're looking to dip your toes into racing action today, but you don't want to make a big investment, download ABR's Stay Lucky app, and it's totally free. You can play, you can win free prizes every time you play, including a grand prize of $1 million, which is really fantastic. So thank you so much, ABR. All right, Jonathan, you stay lucky, my friend. Great stuff as always. I enjoy my Saturday mornings with my coffee. And Jonathan giving us some winners. Everybody, good luck later on this afternoon.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.